Территория этого региона Казахстана занимает 224 тысячи квадратных.
This region of Kazakhstan occupies 224,000 square kilometers in the southeast. Its area is equal to Greece and Hungary together. Approximately 2.5 million people live in such a vast territory with amazing natural and unique historical sites. Hello, this is the Terra Incognita project. My name is Anton Fedorov, and I begin my journey in Almaty region. Today I will tell you an ancient legend about the great Batyr who, until old age, defended his lands from invaders. We'll also go to the distant past to find out what legacy the Sakas who lived in these lands left behind. And for extreme tourism lovers, I'll tell you about fascinating paragliding. Almaty region is a very interesting area of Kazakhstan. It has rather complex geographical characteristics and a very diverse relief. For example, the northwestern part of this land is a desert and semi-desert. Two mountain ranges, the Ile and Dzungarian Alatau, included in the mountain system of the Tien Shan, are in the south and in the east of the region. 7 rivers cross this region in all directions, so the people call Almaty region as Semirechye, or 7 rivers. Traveling in Almaty region, you can choose a route from many directions. This region is very popular among tourists. Here you can find any kind of relaxation, and if you wish, you can find out the centuries-old history of this region. Since ancient times, thanks to its fertile soil, plant abundance, and rich reserves of drinking water, Almaty region was a tidbit for tribes living in the neighborhood. Many centuries ago, Iranians, Dzungars, and Arabs fought for this part of the earth to establish their caliphate. For centuries, different nations and cultures have dominated this region until 1465, when the Kazakh Khanate formed. Thus, this region became the homeland for the senior Jews of Kazakhs.
Эта земля подарила казахскому народу.
This land gave the Kazakh people a lot of worthy citizens. Their names have been left in the history. I want to tell you about one of them. This man devoted his whole life to campaigns and battles, protecting these lands from the Dzungarian invaders. He was distinguished by special courage and extraordinary wisdom and was the real pride of his people. He is Naurizbai Batyr. The 16th, 17th and 18th centuries were a time of formation, strengthening, prosperity and endless wars for the Kazakh Khanate. The nomadic tribes of Central Asia, China and other regions raid the territory, part of which refers to the modern Almaty region. This land needed the defenders of the Kazakh people. Leaving the city of Almaty in the western direction, you will see the majestic monument of Naurizbai Batyr, who was a valiant warrior and guardian of these lands. According to the sources that have been preserved to this day, Naurizbai Batyr was born in 1706 in Almaty region. He came from the Ptolemist clan of the tribal union of Shaprashti, consisting of representatives of the senior Jews. Naurizbai was a tall and large boy. His father, a wealthy man, noting that his son had a strong physique since childhood, specially raised 2 pinto foals and gave them milk instead of water. These 2 pinto horses served Naurizbai for 18 years. He took one of them to the first battle with the Dzungars, which enhanced the glory of his people. In 1723, Naurizbai was 17 years old. During the war years, children grow up quickly. So Naurizbai, with his 5 brothers, participating in campaigns, relocations, bearing all the hardships of the war, became prominent people in a short time. At the age of 26, Nauruzbai demonstrated his courage and strength by defeating Shamal Khan, the Dzungarian king who ruled in Semirechye. The whole life of Nauruzbai Batyr was spent in wars with the Dzungars. The heyday of his military and social activities came in the first half of the 18th century. Nauruzbai rose to the rank of Tumen, the commander of the 10,000th Army.
В своей самой важной войне Наурызбай Батыр победил в середине 18
Nauruzbai Batyr won the most important war in the mid-18th century. It lasted 2 years and was very important for the entire Kazakh people. Nauruzbai's army succeeded to break up the Dzungar troops and throw them into the territory of modern China. And thanks to this victory, many Kazakh families became free from the Dzungarian occupation. Nauruzbai monument is erected in his homeland in Almaty region. Batyr is sitting on his mighty horse and majestically watching this land. It seems that he is looking for enemy approaching, and Nauruzbai is ready to join the battle for the freedom of his people.
Ну а мне пора продолжить мое путешествие по Алматинской.
Well, I have to go on with my journey across Almaty region, and now I want to tell you about the ancient tradition that has been preserved here for several millennia. It's about the Saka bath. Before speaking about this ancient heritage, I propose to make a trip to history to understand who were the Sakas inhabiting this land and why did their civilization disappear. Even in the first millennium BC, these lands were inhabited by Sakas, these tribes that led both nomadic and sedentary lifestyles. The Sakas had a clear state system. This is evidenced by the fact that their society was divided into classes: kings, warriors, representatives of the nobility, and ordinary people. Saka also possessed a tremendous amount of knowledge, for example in such fields as metallurgy and geology. Already at that time they were able to determine the value of gold and use this metal to decorate clothes of VIP persons. I arrived in the city of Issyk, which is located 50 kilometers east of Almaty. This settlement was founded in the middle of the 19th century. Issyk became known to the whole world in 1969 after Saka mounds and the burial place of the famous Golden Man were discovered in its vicinity. The military vestments of the Golden Man contained 4,000 golden jewelry.
Первым вопросом, когда нашли золотого человека,
The first question archaeologists asked after discovering the Golden Man was whether his suit was of local origin or imported, because it was really difficult to make such complex jewelry in a nomadic environment. 16 different jewelry techniques were used by ancient master jewelers to make this costume, and it was originally supposed that the costume might have been created in Bactria, where jewelers had a higher level of skill. The Greeks of the Black Sea region often made certain products to the Black Sea Scythians, since they had higher qualifications. But 10 years after the discovery of the Golden Man, the elements from a similar costume and production waste were found in Barskun near Issyk. This indicates the local origin of these suits.
Элементы от похожего костюма и отходы производства, что говорит о местном происхождении этих костюмов.
The state hierarchy of the Sakas was very clear. In the middle of the first millennium BC, Saka tribes united in alliances. These unions were led by supreme leaders. They were called kings, who were elected by the council of leaders. State affairs were discussed at public meetings. The king distributed pastures and other land to the clans and tribes. The artifacts found in Issyk help to build up a certain idea of the lifestyle of the ancient Sakas. Many centuries before humanity began their reckoning, these tribes already possessed pottery craftsmanship, had various weapons, and even possessed scientific knowledge.
Уровень компетенции в области той же металлургии был достаточно высокий. Допустим, возьмем вот этот бронзовый котел.
The level of competence in the field of metallurgy was quite high. Let's take this bronze cauldron, tripod. This is a one-piece thing. At the moment, several dozen of them have been found in Semirechye. The manufacture of such things requires serious competence in the field of metallurgy, because you need to know where to get the ore, how to get the metal from the ore, and how to cast this metal in such forms so that they do not deform. At present, these treasures with specific attributes have been found in our micro-region in Issyk. One of them has 46 items of various nomenclature, starting with knives, awls, punctures, arrowheads, and spears. We arbitrarily call such a find the blacksmith's treasure, because indeed the skill of the blacksmiths at that time was at a very high level.
Мастерство именно литейщиков, кузнецов в то время было на очень высоком уровне.
В большинстве музеев очень часто на экспонатах висит табличка, где написано «руками не трогать». Но в Иссыкском государственном музее-заповеднике можно буквально прикоснуться к истории.
Many museums have a sign hanging on the exhibit saying "Do not touch it with your hands." But in the Issyk State Museum Reserve, you can literally touch history. Here are fragments of household items of the ancient Sakas. For example, from this thing, the Sakas drank maybe tea, some herbs, tinctures, kumis, or milk.
А вот это, наверное, служило им для употребления пищи. Здесь специальная подставка, вот так она устойчиво стоит, и из нее, наверное, саки употребляли еду. Вот так.
This probably served them for eating. Here's an item which Sakas probably used to serve food. This item was used by the Sakas to store some kind of liquid. It is very large, by the way, and there are thousands of such finds throughout Kazakhstan.
И таких находок по всему Казахстану тысячи.
The level of development of the Saka culture was very high. Traces of these tribes were found in the south, east, center, and west of Kazakhstan, and this is only part of the vast territory that these peoples inhabited. There is evidence that the Sakas, like the ancient Egyptians, mummified individual representatives of their clans and possessed a wealth of knowledge in medicine.
Яркий пример – это вот берельские захоронения, где мы видим следы мумификации на знатных персонах и следы инструментов, хирургических инструментов на костях.
A vivid example is the Birel burial ground, where we see traces of mummification of the nobles and traces of surgical instruments on the bones after mummification, as well as trepanized skulls. The life of a person was extended by conducting surgical procedures.
Вот, извлекали это специальным инструментом и таким образом продлевали человеку жизнь.
The sunset of the Saka culture came at the beginning of our era. Many conquerors from the west, south, and east attacked the Saka tribes for centuries, until they were completely destroyed. We can imagine how the Sakas lived and what level of civilization they had by looking at the fragments of those objects that have been preserved to this day and were found by archaeologists. But one Saka tradition has survived to this day, with virtually no change. This is a Saka bath. In the vicinity of Almaty today, you can find small relaxation areas in which there is a real Saka bath. Its creation in urban conditions is impossible. To learn more about this interesting heritage of Sakas, I came to the expert on Saka bath, Ruslan Tulushadze, who recreated the culture of ancient tribes in a picturesque place.
Специфика сакской бани заключается в том, что оздоровление человека, во-первых,
The specificity of the Saka bath is that it ensures a strong healing for man. There is an influx of energy. After the procedures, the nervous system comes down. The endocrine system begins to work very actively. In addition, the immune system begins to fight various diseases, for example, flu, runny nose. Saka bath creates a healthy environment for a person.
все это в совокупности в сакской бане создает для человека именно здоровую среду.
A bathhouse is not just a place to wash. For many peoples, this is a whole ritual associated with the purification of not only the body, but also the soul of man. Encyclopedic sources say that earlier, nomads steamed in felt tents. A little more information was found in Herodotus, who described in detail how the Saka bathhouse was arranged. By the way, the father of history claimed that nomads in their saunas literally cried out with pleasure. Jadeite, a mineral with emerald color, was used as stones in the Saka bath. It has special properties. People used to stoke it with firewood of special species of trees. The tent was covered with grass inside. Saka knew a lot about the bath and turned it into a place for healing. All procedures that a person must go through in the Saka bath have scientific justification.
Эти бани были похожи на шалаш. Мы как бы возродили сакскую баню.
These baths looked like huts. We say that we revived the Saka bath. We made the most similar bathhouse to the one that was in those days. The secret is to make a fire under the stones. The temperature reaches 1300 degrees Celsius. After the stones are heated, we remove the products of combustion. We leave the heated stones in the hut and cover it. We made it in the shape of a cube. The hut is covered with natural fabric without adding any synthetic materials. Linen and cotton are used. These are natural fabrics that make the atmosphere in the bath environmentally friendly.
Это идет лённый хлопок, это природная ткань, который делает в бане саму атмосферу очень экологически чистой.
Given the fact that the Sakas led a semi-nomadic lifestyle, they often had to use natural remedies in everyday life. So they calculated the healing effects of various herbs on the human body. These herbs are still used today in the Saka bath. The healing effect depends on the temperature inside.
В самой бане температура достигает не больше 75-80 градусов. Это делается для чего?
In the bathhouse, the temperature reaches no more than 75 to 80 degrees. Why? The bath should not create a high temperature for the body. The goal is to create a comfortable temperature for the body. Why 75 degrees? At 60 degrees, a body generates active sweating. All body functions work. If we increase the temperature to 100 degrees, then all systems work badly. This is not very good for the body. Therefore, the temperature of 60 to 70 degrees is very beneficial for the body.
Поэтому как бы предполагается то, что 60 градусов, 70 градусов, это очень полезно для организма.
The correct bath procedure can replace a sports training. In one such session, you can lose up to 4 kilograms in weight. Saka bath removes toxins, strengthens the immune system, accelerates self-healing processes, relieves stress, and provides an influx of energy, vitality, and strength.
Процедура отопления происходит около 3-4 часов. Активные топки только дровами.
The heating procedure takes about 3 to 4 hours only with wood. No other combustible materials are used. The bathhouse is heated either by elm or birch. Firewood containing resin is not used. This is not very good because when water is added to the stones, the resin rises up and we breathe this gas. Therefore, we use either birch or elm.
И мы дышим этим газом. Это не очень хорошо. Поэтому применяем именно березу либо карагач.
In 1.5 to 2 hours, one should make 5 visits to the bathhouse for 7 minutes. The first run is warming up. The bath attendant pours hot stones with herbal infusion, guests inhale essential oils, get used to the temperature. It is important to keep warm and breathe well. Steam rises from the stones up and envelopes the entire body. After the procedure, visitors should go to fresh air and swim in a mountain river.
Если мы создадим эту баню вблизи озера, то этого эффекта не будет.
If we create this bathhouse near the lake, there won't be such an effect. If we put a bath near the river, it will work. Rolling water through a stone forms ozone. This is saturated oxygen O3. When it enters the body through the lungs just after the bath, it improves the entire pulmonary system. It turns out that if we dive into cold water from hot temperature, we cool the body. If we are in hot temperature, we only increase the pressure in the body.
Если мы в горячей температуре, мы повышаем, получается, давление в организме.
Indeed, the Saka bath is something special. One can feel the power of nature and the centuries-old wisdom of the ancestors in it. Refreshed and clean, I continue the journey through the unique places of Almaty region. My path goes through the mountains, and I want to meet people who fly in the clouds. An alpine plateau is placed to the southwest of the city of Almaty in the spurs of the Ile Alatau mountains at the altitude of about 1,000 meters. Here is one of the most famous deltadromes in the CIS.
Здесь, в живописном месте, которое называется Ушконыр,
Paragliders and hang gliders make their flights from a special launch pad at the altitude of about 1,000 meters. This picturesque place is called Ushkoner. These people can be envied, because every time they see a simply amazing view of beauty. In 1964, American designer Dominic Gilbert invented the concept of the latest revolutionary and very unusual controlled kite. The new parachute had a rectangular shape and was sewn from 2 layers of fabric. During the flight, the space between the layers of fabric was filled with air. The parachute became thicker. Thanks to this, the new parachute system got an additional opportunity to slide against the air like a wing, creating lift. Over time, this invention was transformed into a modern paraglider. The paraglider brought together hundreds of people who now cannot imagine their life without flying. It would seem that paragliding is an extreme sport and strong men should do it. However, no. This girl named Katya is among those who have been conquering the sky for more than a year. According to her, she first tried paragliding by accident.
Я приехала сюда за грибами. Увидела, как эти люди
I came here for mushrooms and saw how these people are walking down a cliff holding some thin ropes. I thought that I would never do this in my life. Well, and apparently if a person is destined to do something, to come somewhere, then the universe does everything for this. Now I have been flying for 14 years.
И я уже летаю 14 лет.
The average speed of a paraglider is from 20 to 70 kilometers per hour. Due to the relative ease of operation and the minimum requirements for the platform for launching or landing, the paraglider is accessible to almost anyone. However, the relatively low flight characteristics of this vehicle severely limit its capabilities and make it dependent on weather conditions. Nevertheless, the value of a paraglider is that it gives a person completely unique emotions.
В полете для каждого человека, наверное, что-то свое.
There is probably something different for each person in flight. Something that catches him, that makes him return to the slope, and for me, flying is a state of freedom, loneliness. This can be compared probably with meditation, when there are absolutely no thoughts in my head. And such a state makes me happy.
И такое состояние делает меня счастливой.
The Deltadrome here was created back in Soviet times. Enthusiasts noticed this site and chose for flying. For more than 20 years they have been soaring from this mountain. International competitions, CIS Cups, Kazakhstan Championships are regularly held on Mount Ushkoner. Paragliding also became available to ordinary tourists.
Лечу первый раз. Муж сказал...
I am flying for the first time. The husband said that we must fly. I'm afraid, of course. We have long dreamt of it. For several years we've thought about it. We live in Almaty and we should try it. So we decided. It's still scary, but a beautiful view calms me down. I will enjoy it.
Наслажусь видом, посмотрю.
Ushkoner is a unique flying place. This is currently the largest of those officially registered Deltadromes throughout the CIS. The Deltadrome takes an area of 500 square kilometers. Important characteristics of this flight place is the availability of comfortable high-altitude launches, many safe landing sites, well-developed road infrastructure in the valley, proximity to the city. In addition to paragliding in Ushkoner, you can also fly on a hang glider. This is an aircraft consisting of 3 aluminum pipes and connected by a special canvas cloth. Aerodynamic qualities of modern hang gliders allow you to fly safely at speeds up to 120 km per hour and perform various aerobatics.
Занимаюсь я уже 13 лет. Вот.
I have been doing this for 13 years. Of course, this is not just a friend. I would say that this is a native person, because it carries me in the air. I hope only for it. It gives me a feeling of pleasure and freedom. Therefore, I take great care of it, love it, and try to constantly look after it.
Очень берегу, люблю и стараюсь за ним постоянно ухаживать.
During the flight, the pilot and hang glider become one. And at this moment, a person experiences unique feelings, challenging nature and riding astride wind currents. Therefore, almost 50 years ago, like-minded people striving into the sky discovered this place.
Это было сделано еще в 70-х годах.
This was done back in the 70s at the beginning of hang gliding development. We searched for places in Almaty and found this place. It suits perfectly. All wind directions are blowing here. Well, you can fly in any direction.
Ну и полететь можно как туда, в ту сторону, так и в ту сторону.
For a long time, a man was eager for the sky. And if in the 15th century people could only dream of full flights, today this became available. So if you want to experience the thrill, welcome to Almaty region.
В этом выпуске я рассказал вам о сохранившихся...
In this episode, I told you about the ancient traditions of the Saka bath, spoke about the development of paragliding in Kazakhstan, and showed the amazing beauty of Almaty region. However, this unique region has more interesting and diverse places to enjoy. And I'm going for new adventures. Watch the Terra Incognita project. See you in the next episode.